Hello and welcome to episode 184 again. The last episode that I uploaded 2 weeks ago, I published as episode 184 and it was actually episode 183. So this is the real episode 184, so it's 184 again. There may be noises from outside. My neighbour is doing some construction-y stuff in his garden. I thought he'd finished, but he was clearly only having his lunch and he's back at it. So here I am recording. If it's annoying, I'm sorry. It's going to distract me. Let's all just prepare ourselves for that fact. There was no episode last week because I hadn't done much in the week leading up to recording time because it had been so hot. It's not been as hot, but it has been just as humid, so I've been busy with other stuff. So there is some knitting to show you. In fact, as I was gathering it together, there's more than I thought there was going to be. But probably not as much as you might be expecting after a 2-week gap. So I'm going to start with spinning and then it's out the way. I'm very new to spinning and this is my first tour de fleece. I've been sharing my spinning journey with you as I've been going and I've got something to show you in a minute. I should start with that actually because then it will segue from one to the other. My first fleece fibre, it's distracting me already. My first fibre that I spun up was spun, plied, soaked, caked up, and I've started knitting with it. So I'm going to show you that in a minute. This was the second lot, and this is some that I dyed up myself. And I dyed it in 3 colours, and I have split it into those 3 colours to spin. So this is the first section, and it's been spun and then plied. So this is really all ready to be put onto the niddy noddy, made into a hank and soaked. But I've left it on its little bobbin because I just want to take a picture of the 3 bobbins together. I spun it as a single, obviously, and then I wound it on my cake winder into a centre pull ball, and then I plied it from the centre pull ball. I'd been loath to do that because I'd seen someone say that you've got one strand is going the wrong way and it will unwind. And I think I spoke to you about that the other day. But then I saw someone else on a podcast say, a spinning podcast, that if you imagine this is your piece of yarn, so the twist, if you like, is going upwards from this side to this side. So this is the up side. So in my left hand, it's pointing up towards my left hand. If you turn it the other way, it's still pointing up towards my left hand. So that gave me the confidence to ply it from a centre pull ball, which I'd been afraid to do before. And as you can see, it's come out perfectly all right. I need some more practice at plying. There are some bits that are a little bit overspun. But on the whole, I'm quite pleased with it. It's come out at around about the weight that I wanted it to. So the plan, once this is all done, is to knit the pattern that I'm about to show you knitting wise. This is the Woolseer Shawl by Amber O'Brien, and as you can see, it starts at the point and then you increase as you go. I would like to knit this with it, but it will come out much smaller. So I don't know whether I'm going to dye some more fibre to do the end. Basically, right, I'm getting this very confused. I'm knitting this with 12 20-gram minis. So that's 240 grams, isn't it? I will only have 100 grams of my Handspun. So I really need to either spin some more to finish it off with, or finish it off with something that goes. Or I could just find another pattern that only takes 100 grams, couldn't I? It depends on the meterage. I'm kind of working this out as I'm going. I need to shut up. Right, so now I've got this out the bag to show you. In the fortnight since you saw it last, I've done this much. From that little piggy there. Which again, it doesn't look like very much. It's all crumpled up because it's been in the bag. But it's some. I wasn't going to show you this. I was going to show you something else first, but now you've seen this. As I say, it's the Woolseer Shawl by Amber O'Brien, and I'm knitting it in one of my gradient sets called Sunset Skies. I've nearly finished with this colour, and then I will go on to this one. So I've got 5 more to go in. All the patterns that I'm going to show you today will be linked below in the description box. Right, this was the thing that I intended to show you first, because this is what I've started with my Handspun yarn. This is a Musselburgh hat, and this is my first Handspun that I've made into anything. So this is it caked up. And this was some 100% Corriedale from the Fibre Fairy, who's Crafty Cat Knitty Bits. And I've got this much of the hat so far. It's got the ball in it. It's a bit hard to see really. But I'm quite pleased with it. It's knitting up to about a DK weight, and I've got it on a 4mm needle, yeah. And the fabric that I'm getting it's okay. It's not too tight, it's okay. The beauty of the Musselburgh is that you adjust your stitch count according to your gauge. So you knit a bit, and then once you've got enough to measure an inch, you see how many stitches you're getting to the inch. Look on the table that's included in the pattern, and that tells you how many stitches you need to make which particular size you've chosen. So this is an adult medium. It doesn't look very big because it's all squashed up on a small circular, but I'm quite happy with how it's coming out, the way the colour's coming out. When I spun it, it's the first time I'd done anything like it, and I had a plan for how I wanted the yarn to come out. And in order to do that, I would have had to chain ply it, which would have made it thicker than I wanted it. So my colour management plan didn't quite work out, because I plied it 2-ply rather than 3-ply. Had I chain plied it. How many times can you say ply in one sentence? But I'm quite pleased. It looks all right. The thick and thin isn't that obvious in the knitting of it. It just looks like handspun yarn knit into a hat, which is exactly what it is. Dave asked me, he said, is it really, like, do you get a huge sense of achievement knitting something with your own handspun yarn? And I haven't really. I probably should, but I haven't, because it's just yarn that I'm knitting with. It hasn't really sunk in that I spun it. Strange behaviour, I know. Okay, what else? Let's show you this next. This is something that you've seen before. I think I showed it to you last time. Pretty sure I did, because I remember saying about having pulled down the tea that I was making with the yarn. This is the Eyelet Burst by Stephen West. I was there last time you saw it. So I've put quite a lot on this. I've been in a mood for things that just require simple knitting. I have not had the brain space for lacy stuff, and that's why my Calm and Joy shawl hasn't had any work on it, because it requires counting, lots of counting, and my overheated brain can't do numbers at the moment, which is a disadvantage. I'll show you something in a minute and you'll see why that's a disadvantage. But I've got that much so far. This yarn is from Yarn Mixology. It's a gradient cake. As you know, I'm quite into gradient cakes at the moment. This one is falling to pieces because it has been split in half. There you go. Yarn Mixology in the colourway that says Moonstone. It might be a bit hard to read. And I still have this much. I'm going to sort that out in a minute. I still got this much of what was originally in a tea that I pulled down to go into the shawl before I can join back into the cake proper. That's got in a right. Oh no, it's not as bad as it looked. Okay, that's that. 12 minutes. This is going to be quite short, I'm afraid. I haven't got much to talk about. Not much has been going on because I've mostly been... I don't really know what I've been doing. Not a lot, basically. Right, this I thought I'd pulled down. And I hadn't. I got it out to see how much yarn I had, with a view to casting something else on with it, and discovered that I hadn't pulled it down. It was still on the needles, and when I looked at it, I thought I'd pulled it down because I was over, very, very over, knitting 1x1 twisted rib, which is my least favourite rib. And when I looked, I'd finished the rib and I'd got a couple of rows of stocking stitch on, so I've carried on with it. It's the outline tee, and it's going to be very, very difficult to show you. Right. It hasn't got a stitch marker in it because I was literally 2 rows over the rib when I showed it to you. So I did all the body, and then I am this far up the left front. I've got, oh, it's getting a bit, oh mind you, it's for wearing over something. I think I'm about there. I've got a few more rows to go in the shoulder shaping, then the right side, and then obviously the back, and some, I think it's just rib on the sleeves. But it's all on one needle still, so I'm trying to figure out a way I can show you. Especially as it's black, that's not lending itself very easily to being seen. So I've got this much. I had to work out what size I was doing because I'd deleted the project. I was so certain that I'd pulled it down that at some point I've deleted the project, and I've not only deleted it from my projects on Ravelry, I'd taken it off my tablet. If I was doing it with a paper pattern, I don't know what I've done with the pattern. So I had to work out what size I was making. and then carry on from there. So it's cropped. It's going to come, I think, just below my natural waist. Depends. It's a bit hard to tell at the moment because of how much I've got done. The sun has come out and now I can't see. So this is the outline tee by Jessie Made Designs, which is a bit of a surprise knit because I didn't think I'd got it anymore. And you certainly haven't seen it, I don't think, this year. I think you might have seen it when I did a whip roundup, either at the end of last year or the very beginning of this year. And I'm knitting it in Drops Saffron in the colourway 16, which is black. I don't particularly like knitting with cotton. This is 100% cotton, but I've actually enjoyed knitting with this. It's soft, or it's smooth really rather than soft. Usually with cotton I find that because it's not got a lot of stretch to it, it makes my hands sore and it makes my fingers, because I've got sensory things, it makes my fingers feel unpleasant because it's rough. But this has been, well, you can see how much I've done. When did I pull this out? A week ago? And I've knit, oh, it's covered in cat hair because it's black. Oh, I could hold it up that way. Is that any better? No. You can see how much I've knit in a week, so it can't have been that awful to knit with. I'm aiming to get it finished in time for the wool show at the end of next month, because I've got, well, several dresses that it will go over, just to make me feel a little more decent. You know, I don't like to show my armpits, and if it's on the chillier side. So yeah, surprise project number 1, outline tee by Jessie May. But there is a surprise project number 2. It's a surprise to me as well. I got into one of those moods, and I'm sure we all do it, or at least those of us who've got more than one project on the go, where I've got over 20 projects cast on and I didn't want to knit on any of them. And I was on Zoom with Denise, my friend Denise from Dear Designs, and I was going, I don't know what to knit. I don't like anything. And she said, why don't you get a pattern? I'm not buying any more patterns. Why don't you get a pattern out of one of those books? Let me show you. This is all patterns. Either commercial patterns that I've bought from a shop or patterns that I've cut from magazines that I've bought. Why don't you look at one of those? No, I don't like any of those. So anyway, that's how I ended up pulling out the outline tee. And then I was looking through Ravelry, through my library, and I came across something that I have zero recollection of. I don't remember finding it. I don't remember putting it in my library. It's a free pattern. So, I mean, I've clearly put it in there at some point because there it is. And I looked at this and I thought that would go over a dress, or it would go under some dungarees. I have some dungarees that I don't wear outside the house, but finding something to wear underneath said dungarees is a bit of a challenge. And I found this in my library. The only thing I can think is that I have a bit of a habit of, when I can't sleep, I will scroll through Ravelry. And sometimes I just look at that first page that's got what's in at the moment and your highlights on it and new, or is it not new designers? Something like that. Anyway, And sometimes I will just pick a category and just randomly scroll. It's a bit like counting sheep. And I must have been doing that and seeing this pattern. It's a free pattern, as I said, so I've just added it to my library, but I've got no recollection of it. This is it. Oh. It's called, it's a little, on a tiny little thing. That's the shape of it. Oh gosh, it's very hard with the reflections. Hang on. I think you can sort of see. It's called the Thank You Very Much Top Tea. Yeah, Thank You Very Much Top. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce this lady's name, because yeah, I'm not even going to try. I'm going to show it to you. Anybody got a clue? It's got lots of letters in it that don't look like they're where they should belong. So I'm not even going to try and offend the poor woman by getting it wrong. And it's one of those patterns where it's kind of a recipe rather than having set sizes. So you take some measurements and then you do some calculations and you make it to fit the way you want it. This is where my lack of maths brain can be a bit of a hindrance. But mostly it's done the way I often work out what size I'm going to knit. I'm going to put this down because the reflection is annoying me. How I often work out what size I'm going to knit from any pattern by looking at my gauge for that yarn on that needle size and then the number of inches around I want, and then going for the size that's got that number of stitches. So I don't know yet whether my calculations are correct. We will have to see. But I have cast it on. I only cast it on yesterday evening after dinner. And so far, I have this much. Oh, that's coming out on my screen that I'm trying to see. That's come out kind of a royal blue, and it's not. It's a beautiful deep teal. In fact, it's called deep teal. It's Yarnsmith's Merino Sock, and it is shade 2K235, and it's called Deep Teal. It's really frustrating. It looks very royal blue. I don't know why. Yes, so this bit, it's just going to keep rolling away, so let's put it in there. This is the bit that goes around your neck. So you measure around your neck and you work out how many stitches you need to cast on. And then I'm knitting the width that I want this strap to be. And I've gone for 2 inches. But if I decide when I get to 2 inches, or I think I'd like it a bit wider, I can just do that, because that doesn't affect any of the other measurements. So it's trial and error. The whole thing, as you will have seen, is knitting 2x2 rib, which fortunately is my favourite rib. Though a whole top in it is probably going to be a little bit of a challenge. It's a bit hard to show you how it goes because it's on shortish needles. But I'm thinking it will be okay. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how this progresses. This is again something that I would like to have finished for the Southern Wool Show, because I can put it over a dress or two that I'm planning to wear, and I can make it cropped because it's not going to be worn with jeans or anything. It's going to be over something, so there's no risk of me flashing any bits of myself that I would rather nobody got to see. And to be fair, everyone else would probably rather they didn't get to see. And I have a finished object that I've left till last, just to break with tradition. This is kind of the Front Street bag by Expression Fibre Arts. I have changed it. I was going to say slightly, but I've actually changed it quite a bit. To start with, I've knit it in fingering weight held double, whereas it is a pattern for fingering weight. So I changed the needle size and I changed the weight of yarn that I was using, because I had this left from a Discreet Unicorn Advent from 2022 and I wanted to use it up, and I had, excuse me while I dive in the bin, this much left. So I think I did pretty well. So that was the first thing that I changed, was the weight of yarn and the size of needle. And then I didn't knit, because it's got a circular base, I didn't knit this for as many rows as it tells you to. I got it to the stitch count required, and then because I was using thicker yarn, I just knit to a size that I thought was reasonable, which was this big. And then I started working up the sides, did the number of pattern repeats that the pattern tells you, but then when it came to finishing it off, you do some rows and then you make 2 handles. So you cast off some stitches, cast on some stitches, do a few more rows after that, and then you crochet around the inside of your handles, and you can crochet around the top of the bag just to make it a bit firmer. But I had bought this handle which poppers on and off so the bag can go in the washing machine, and so I did some rows, then I made some little eyelets, literally like you would make a buttonhole. I cast off 2 stitches, and then as I came round on the next row I cast on 2 stitches on either side, so there's an eyelet on either side for the handle to go into. And then I thought, it's going to gape open. This is going to be my yarn show shopping bag. What doesn't fit in here isn't coming home. And if you believe that, you'll believe anything. I thought it's gonna flop open and skeins of yarn will fall out. So I asked Dave if he could put a popper on it, and he said not on wool. So I made a little loop, crocheted a little loop, which I very carefully worked out to be in the middle, and then managed to crochet it off centre. You have no idea how much that has annoyed me, but not enough that I took it off and redid it. You can see if I do that, can you see it's not where it ought to be? It's here and the bobble is there. And then I used one of these. It's a silicone stitch stopper, it's a silicone bead, but I didn't know what button I had that would do the bag justice. And I was looking and I thought, I wonder if I could make a silicone bead. And I did. And it works. And you can sew it on, of course, because it's got a hole through the middle. So there you go. Front Street bag finished. Finished object. Finally, something finished. Yeah. I had planned to make another one because I thought, sneaky you see, I thought I'll have one for Saturday and one for Sunday. But I don't know that I'm going to have time to knit another one. I have got another handle ready. I'll see. I might cast one on and see how I get on. But yeah. So I've got at least 2 sweaters that I want finished for the Southern Wool show. I'm contemplating knitting another bag. And I might knit another outline tee as well. I've got the yarn for it. I shouldn't have bought it. But I did buy more yarn. I haven't got any cotton in stash. Any. None at all. What I had I got rid of. And so I want to see how this one comes out, how it fits. Whether I want to change the size, change the length before I cast another one on. But I did buy some more. I'm just going to show you. What the hell? I was just about to say, if there's a noise and I disappear, just turn away. I've fallen off the chair. I bought this colour. I can't actually see the screen. What colour is that coming up? Yeah, it's not that blue. It's, again, it's a tealy colour. It is colour 51. It's the drop saffron again, because it was so smooth to knit with, and the stitch definition is really nice. It looks, it's hard, probably a bit difficult for you to have seen. It looks really nice. The fabric looks really neat and even. So I bought this. I bought 2 of these. That's coming up a lot brighter. This is deep purple, I think, to make another one of those tanks, the thank you very much tanks. Got some of this. This is King Cole Footsie, which is a sock yarn. They've done sort of like fruity colours for quite a while, and I've got one that I knit as a Christmas hat. I've got a couple of others. I knit one as a cowl. I think it was kiwi fruit. It was greens and browns, and gave that away as a gift. But it is, I'm looking for the thing. Oh, there it is. 93% acrylic, 7% PBT. And in the blurb on Wool Warehouse, it says that PBT is a thermo something. So basically, it's meant to act like wool does and keep you cool if it's warm and warm if it's cold. And I thought, well, I don't know about that. But I bought enough of this to make another summer sorbet tee, because I really like the fit of that. I knit it in my own yarn a few months ago. When did I finish it? January or February, I think. And this is my favourite pink. So I bought enough of it to do a pink one. And enough of it to do an olive green one. So today you have seen all my favourite colours to wear. Black, bright pink, olive green, plummy purple, teal. I think that's everything. So yeah, I went on Wool Warehouse to get the drop saffron, which was on offer. I don't know if it still is. It was 90p a ball, which I thought was just madness. Why would you not buy it at that price? And yeah, came away with, because you know you've got to, rather than pay postage, you've got to buy more yarn. Whoever came up with that cunning idea, they deserve some kind of industry award, I'm sure, because how many of us actually just go to a warehouse and go, well, I only actually need 6 balls of dropped saffron, so I'm going to buy that and I am going to pay the postage. Nobody does that. Nobody. We all spend the £30, £35, whatever it is, to get the free postage. Certainly I know all my friends do, and I bet everyone else does as well. Right. Was there anything else I had to tell you? I would look at my notes, but as you can see, there are none. Let me look and see. Nothing. Nothing else to tell you, I'm afraid. I've been dyeing yarn. I'm going to continue dyeing yarn. I'm dyeing up advents nice and early so I can take my time about it, because it is... I've decided that yarn dyeing is like a winter activity. It is very much not a hot summer activity. I'm spinning. I haven't even done much of that this week. I've been spinning the second part of this fibre, and I think I've done maybe half of it, which isn't very much in the week. I don't really know what I've been doing. I've been listening to my audiobook and falling asleep a lot. That might account for quite a bit of missing time. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of life's mysteries. So I think I've told you everything I have to tell you. I'm probably going to go. Friday night, my friend Denise, the aforementioned Denise of Dear Designs, had a live, and it came out of the blue. I was about to go to bed when she went live, and I went on, and a lady called Caroline, who I know watches this podcast as well, and I were chatting in the live chat on Denise's video, and Caroline asked me a couple of questions, one of which I think I've just answered because I showed her the outline tee. I'm sure it was about that. And the other question she asked me was, would I ever go live? And I have done lives in the past. I can't remember what year it was, but one year I did like an October live every Saturday through October. And the first Vlogmas I did worked the same way. I went live every Saturday through December. So I have done them in the past. I'm not ruling out doing them in the future, but I have no plans at the moment. They're harder to do than you might expect, because you never know if anyone's going to join. And until somebody joins, you just sit there by yourself. Once people start joining and chatting, then you've got something to respond to. But just sitting there waiting to see if anyone turns up it's nerve-wracking. I'm not going to beat about the bush. It is quite nerve-wracking, and I, as I say, have no plans currently to do that. So yeah, I have done, I may do, but don't hold your breath. At the moment, I don't seem to be able to manage to do anything much, so going live is probably a bit beyond me. I'm hoping there will be a podcast next week. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by the man. He's measuring things now. He's measuring things with a big stick. I'm not quite sure what he's doing. Their garden has been a bit of a building site for probably 2 years, and suddenly it's all coming together and it's beautiful. They've got a really lovely raised bed. This is not my business to be telling you, but they've got a lovely raised bed. He's put up a trellis at the bottom of the garden that's going to hide the workshop that he's building. And he's putting up some more trellis, which I feel I have heard the words hot tub mentioned. I'm rather glad there's going to be a trellis so that I don't have to look into what I consider to be a human soup bowl. It's my personal opinion, and if you enjoy a hot tub, all power to your elbow. But personally, I can think of nothing worse than sharing a bath with loads of other people. Ugh. Right, that's enough of talking about other people's business that I have no business talking about. And I'm going to go. It's Dave's day off today. He's currently at the physiotherapist's. The ongoing saga of Dave's bad knee is ongoing. He hurt it just before the first lockdown, before COVID. And then, of course, he couldn't see anybody. And so for the last 5 years, it's just got worse and worse and worse. It's a combination of arthritis and a torn meniscus, which has subsequently healed, but not properly, I don't think, or not quite right. He had steroid injections into it in February, but they seem to have worn off already. The physio told him last time he saw him, very helpfully, to try and avoid doing so much traffic up and down stairs. And we live in a house that's on 3 floors that you have to go up steps to get into. And the building he works in is also on 3 floors. And he spends most of his day either running up and down them or carrying heavy equipment up and down them. So Dave not doing stairs to help his knee is just not an option. I did say when he came home and said that's what the physiotherapist had recommended. Oh, is he going to find you a new job in a bungalow then? Apparently the NHS don't do that. So anyway, now I've told you everybody's business but my own, I'm going to go. And I will try and see you next week. Again, if there's no podcast next week, please don't worry. I'm fine. I've just got caught up in other stuff and I don't feel like I've got enough knitting to show you. Here we are. It's been 45 minutes. I thought I'd be here for about 20. But that's only because I've been gossiping about other people's stuff. So I am actually going to go. I've lost count of the number of times I've said I'm going to go. I'm actually going to do it now. And I will possibly see you next week. If not, I will see you the following week. Bye, guys.